Hi folks, let's map and work with a GPX file from a GPS receiver or an app in ArcGIS Pro. Now a GPX file is an exchange format file. It's a text file really if you look at it from your app or from a GPS unit, and it's got lat long, elevation, a timestamp, and inside ArcGIS Pro, I'm going to run GPX to features. GPX to features. That's all I'm going to do. I'm pointing to my GPX, and I'm outputting it into a feature class. Now, notice here that I have an error message when I ran the GPX to features. Why? Because I was editing in my previous session. So make sure that you've stopped editing before you run a tool like this one. So now that I've stopped editing, let's go ahead and add that. And now I have my GPX file as point data. I'm also going to run it and save it as a polyline. So I've got it in two formats. I've got it as a line and as a set of points. I can do things with both of those, the points and the line. That's why I want to bring it in twice. So now here's my terrain with those points on there and the beautiful, wonderful, fabulous Organ Mountains of southern New Mexico. I was there with some New Mexico State University students. And notice that inside my GPX now feature class file, I have a whole bunch of fields. And I want to create a new field. I want to call it elevation in feet because I want to test some vertical accuracy here. And this is a good exercise in creating a field and then calculating it. My elevation in feet is there as a double precision floating point. And now I have my calculate field box. And I'm going to say, well, the elevation in feet is equal to elevation times, let's go ahead and select elevation, times 3.28, so I can get the number of feet in here. My original elevations were in meters, and you'll see why I want both units here in a moment. But it's a good exercise in practicing your editing of the attribute table. Now I've got the contour baseline on there, the contour map as a base map. And when I do that, I can look at very closely the GPS generated points, and I could see the 6,000 foot contour line from the topo base, and then I can look at the attributes. Now, caveats here. The contour baseline base map was created from a set of elevations. Some of these contour base maps might have been, or topographic base maps might have been created by LiDAR. I believe this one was created from the original USGS topo sheets. So there's all kinds of data quality issues here. But just as a demonstration, I want to symbolize these now as hikers, just for fun. But it's also instructive to know about different symbology inside ArcGIS Pro. And I'm also symbolizing it based on elevation in meters, with the low elevations being yellow and the high elevations being a reddish tone. Okay. Don't use a rainbow color scheme for something like this. Is blue more than green? No. Do it something like this where you've got yellow to red or light green to dark green or something like that. So now I've got these individual, think of them as breadcrumb, little virtual breadcrumbs that I'm dropping behind me as I'm walking along here. This is a GPS track that I collected myself. Okay, and now I can verify that, okay, if I click on different elevations along that trail, how close I was to the vertical and the horizontal. The vertical here, testing it against the topographic base map. So that is mapping a GPS set of points and also lines. There are things you can do both with the points and the lines. Also notice the vertical distance based on the contour lines, but let's look at the horizontal distance. It's about every 12 meters or so that this particular app was collecting. Now you can set a lot of these GPS receivers and tools to be every second, every meter, every foot that it's dropping this virtual breadcrumb along. So depending on your accuracy requirements, you can make those settings. But it's fairly easy, as you saw, to map that inside ArcGIS Pro, and now I can do things with it. I can attach photos to those points. I can look at the field trip I was on. I can visualize the track I was on. I could save that as a future field trip for students or coworkers. Lots of things I can do once I've got it inside ArcGIS Pro. And notice I also have it inside a 3D scene. Thanks for being with me, and I hope that was helpful.